Luka
was good
Nation,
content.
you're all in for a treat. So we're doing a guest episode today. Sharon, Black Jaded Wolf. We've had her on before, but today we'll do kind of like a market update. There's a lot of stuff happening after National. For whatever reason, new businesses always kind of like to make announcements after National. So we'll get Sharon's take because 20 years in the hobby, she has a storefront, so she has a retail presence, right? She's been providing like this kind of service, all-in-one service business. So you guys will learn a little bit about that. And then honestly, you're a dealer. So you're kind of on the floor. You see what people are buying, what people are selling, how the market's doing. So every time you come on, I leave the episode kind of, thinking about things a little bit differently. And I think the reason that happens is because you don't make things up. You talk from experience. And anybody could go there, create an episode, create a podcast, create a video. But the one thing that people on the other end always ask is, why should I listen to you? And when you're on, they know why they should listen to you because you have 20 years of experience. Your business is growing. You make money. You add value to your customers. You never talk bad about people, but all of your customers speak very highly about you. So I love when you come on. Welcome to the show, Sharon, Black Jaded Wolf. Thank you.
Appreciate the invite again. Hopefully, second time people would learn more.
Listen, Sharon, I would just leave if I were you. Like, he's never that. I would just be like,
okay, no,
if I were the guest, like, how am I supposed to better what he just did there? I mean, but what's funny about it is it's earned. And just to kind of put a little cherry on top of that Sunday he gave, I mentioned right before we were coming on here, I was interviewing Black Jaded Wolf on the show, and my son comes running over to say hi and ask if he can apply for a job at the store. Now, that speaks volumes, right? That means you're doing something right at shows, in the hobby. Not only do people know who you are, but like, you're taking care of the future collectors. You're doing right by people. And Ian remembers, of course, you're the guys at your table helping him out on a trade up thing that he was doing at Hofstra. Trade this card for this, and let's see what you can end
up
with.
That's the fun part,
It sticks with you. You know what I mean? And so it's not just lip service. You are somebody that clearly does stuff the right way. And, we do spend 30 seconds with people before an episode, and we say to them, hey, anything you want to focus on? And Sharon's is the best answer always. I won't say anything negative about anyone, and you can ask me whatever you want. I'm just going to give it to you unprepared, uncanned, and let's talk about anything. So, Andrew, if I can, just to switch it up a little bit, I'd like to ask a question. It's something we haven't asked anybody yet, but I think Sharon is uniquely situated. We've gone through the summer, and, before the National, we had a certain kind of business, let's call it cooling down, prices going down, you name it. I have a theory that after the National, you get, a little bit of a pickup in interest and cards and the whole deal. But that right now is usually where, it gets kicked into high gear.
Yep.
Vin Diesel hits the nitrous button and boom, blows away the competition on the market because you got football starting, basketball's right around the corner, baseball's about to heat up. I think hockey's still played. There's World Cup this year. I mean, so we hear this as hey guys, you've made it through the rough patch of the hobby, the off season, and it's about to get really good. Do you, boots on the ground, see any real tangible evidence of that as a store owner, as a dealer, as someone who goes to shows?
This is more like my eBay is a little bit better right now.
Okay.
After Nationals is actually the worst time to sell on eBay because everybody wants to recoup their money and just sell for like a month. I mean, Chewy tried to sell something and then tell me I didn't know he sold anything on our eBay spot. And then he's like, oh my God, he did so bad. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? I would have told you not to do that.
I mean, that's funny. It's something I didn't think about, right? Because I go to a lot of shows and I think to myself, I'm not going to sell this here for 60 cents on the dollar. I'll just put it on eBay.
Yeah.
The National, everyone's doing that. It's like that times 20. It's
everybody goes and leaves and puts it on eBay.
Yeah.
Supply demand.
But that's the thing. It's like people are like finding a lot of other places to sell, but eBay is still the best way, the fastest way to move your stuff right now, unless you want to do wholesale, And I told them, no, just be patient. And not a lot of people could hold, let's say we spend like $150,000 in Nationals, but nobody could just sit there and not sell anything for $150,000 after you just spend that. So obviously it takes certain people, but at the end of the day, if you could fold for a few weeks and then sell, now it's the best time to sell. Football is insane right now. Yep. Since the National, there's almost like a 20-30% increase right now. Like
Yeah.
Herbert, Josh Allen. Let's forget Josh Allen because of yesterday's game. I mean, he
Mhm.
went from like 30% to 50% yesterday. But and it's gonna get worse this Sunday after whoever wins. So basically a lot of calls, a lot of people asking for my football quarterback stuff that I bought during nationals. And I'm not the type that I list it all. I like to like slowly show it to the people, like, one card at a time. So it's like a teaser. I put a video out. But people like, oh, you need to do something else. But I don't know. I'm good with that, but we'll see.
Your
I-
business seems like a logistics nightmare, if I could be honest with you.
No, but she's having
How
fun.
do
She's
you-
always smiling, right? I mean, it can't
Well,
be that much of a nightmare.
Well, let me get to the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You do group submissions, right? You sell on eBay. You take inventory in. Now you have the retail presence. You're a dealer, so you go to every show. How do you manage all those moving parts? There's a lot of people starting businesses that I think would want to hear the answer to this question.
I wholesale a lot that people don't know also. So that's actually a very that part of my business is not known, but people that deal with me know it.
Business to business, like a Costco. Like I have a cafe.
Yes.
I come to Black Jaded Wolf and I'll buy 100 slabs off of you.
Yep. So basically, I sell to a bunch of like whatnot people, group breaker, wholesaler. It's stuff. It makes it easier for me to bulk them out, so it takes them out of my hand. If not, my office will be full of cards, and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah. So I
Because
do
you
a
have to
lot of
move
those
inventory.
wholesale-
You have to move inventory. You can't get stale, right? If you have too many slabs,
Yes.
and if you don't move, so then let me ask you. You said eBay is the fastest way to move inventory, right? Well,
Smaller stuff.
Have you thought about social selling? And I know the answer is yes, but I want to hear how you've thought about social selling, like Loop or whatnot. You could sell cards on there instantly, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
What's been holding you back from adding a distribution or adding a sales channel through those platforms?
I can answer for her. The day only has 24 hours in it. When the day adds 6 more hours, she can do a couple more things.
So my problem with that, I did try. I had an event in Miami with Loop. It went well. We're planning another one. But my thing is, those are the cards also that I could sell wholesale very quickly, without me putting even on eBay. So I'm trying to share and spread my inventory to everyone to keep everyone happy. But the problem at the end of the day, I am a business person. I will offer it first shot probably to somebody that will pay me and less work for me. So that's wholesale right now. I am making a little less, but it gets rid of inventory a little faster. And I'm building relationship with companies. So to me that's more important than maybe making a little bit 5% more selling it somewhere.
I like that. So instead of
Somebody
going,
else hustle for the extra 5%. Let's leave it meat on the bone, right? That's at all levels of it. She's doing it in a wholesale, like
That's my
huge numbers, but
that's
people
my
do it all the
main
time.
principle. Yes, but to build relationship, you have to leave something. Nobody wants to deal with you if you just if you take every piece of meat out there. So
you opened up your storefront about a year ago, right? Is that fair to say? A year?
So I tried both. I have an office that takes in submission and see private customer in Brooklyn, and I tried to open up a spot in another store in the city. Which after national, I took a little break because I'm just all over the place, and I'm still doing a lot of show. And shows right now, almost every week there's 2-3 shows.
Right.
So we could talk about that later, which is another issue. But right now, so I'm focusing on the next few months, like Cage says, is going to be so busy because I need to be on top of my assets that I have right now. Because, underselling a card, like even by 15% is big because you can't rebuy it. Sometimes I sell a card, I can't rebuy it for the price I just sold it for. So you have to maximize wherever you could. And then, so the next few months, I'm not going to be focused that much on retail per se for a store, more like prepping my site, social media, adding more present, and probably doing a little bit more in the social media front.
More social media, more content. I was gonna ask you, Cage.
Yeah.
Why Sharon, why are you not at the Ellis this weekend? Needed a break? The Dallas show.
I actually okay, let's get to that. I have some family issue too. But I don't want to be
You're
away
allowed
from
to
home.
miss a show.
Exactly.
You can't go to every show. And Andrew, here's the
Well,
funny
I've
part,
seen
right?
Sharon at every show. That's why I'm
Pretty
asking.
much. No, but
Not
listen,
Dallas. You've never
Not
seen me in Dallas.
We're gonna get to that.
Yes.
Well,
But I am gonna be so because of that, since you brought up the show situation, I've always been loyal to people that have taken care of me. So all the East Coast show has always hold my spots, I have usually have a big presence on East Coast shows. So now I have a dilemma. Let's say Dallas is going on at the same time as another big show in the West Coast. Now I have to choose. I don't want it to come out as me not being loyal to the people that have taken care of me, but I have to choose now just for my business. So right now my issue is choosing probably doing some West Coast show a little bit more. Like Burbank was good, but I was also doing the East Coast show that wasn't doing that well.
Which one? The East Coast National?
Yep.
The one, that was in Suffern for the first time, right? That's in a different location. It was very weird.
Yes.
I was on vacation, so I didn't go. Normally, that's a show I would hit. But I was in Disney World. Yay! Breaking my shoes.
That's an interesting thing. As a dealer, you have this opportunity cost, right? Like, do I go to the show I've always been going to, but it maybe gets a little bit less presence, a little bit less people, but the organizers have always held my spot, versus, hey, look at that huge show all the way across the country at Burbank. That's a dilemma. That's tough. And you're a very loyal person. You always take care of your own.
So the FOMO comes in, but before it was a little easier to get over because on the old shows, I used to buy a lot there because people come still. But now retail people that want to sell are starting to go to those big shows now too. I have customer that usually comes to White Plains show like, oh, I went to Burbank just to see the difference. So they brought their stuff that I usually buy there.
Right.
So if I can't buy in those shows too, now I have to really consider.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Andrew, you know that this happens.
$1 million ideas happen on the Lucas.
And I don't know if it's $1 million idea, but I have an idea, and it's going to require Sharon, and it's going to require other people. But I'm going to sign you up first, Sharon.
Am I getting cut out?
No, you're on it. We're
You're always on it, Andrew.
Okay.
Because you raise a great point, right? And you're in a tough spot, right? Because you want to be loyal to somebody. We know the folks who run the East Coast shows, right? And let's not lump them all together, right? You have the New York, the East Coast National. You also have like the Philly, Chantilly shows, which are awesome.
And they're running nationals after next year, so you don't want to be playing games.
So here's what's funny, right? So I work in a different field, right? I know everybody thinks I'm full time in cards, but I'm not yet. Not until Andrew makes me a billionaire.
Adult entertainment, guys.
Couple of millions, yes. That's how I told you shish on the Magic Mike thing. I mean, if we go down that road, I know way too much.
I'm
about
in a
it.
different
That's
industry, adult entertainment.
No, but so in other industries, real estate, insurance, you name it, they have what's called a client advisory board, where the big companies will throw a convention, a meeting, a board where they invite their biggest clients. They invite people who they do business with. Sometimes it's at the Four Seasons down in Florida. Sometimes it's in Las Vegas. There's golf. It's fancy. And basically the gist of it is that company wants to talk to their biggest partners all together in a room and hear about what they've done the last year that's good, what they've done that's bad, what they can do going forward that's good and or bad. I believe that we, with Sharon as probably the CEO, should do a card show advisory board. And it's basically a focus group for the people who run the shows. And think about how helpful someone like you could be to the people who run the East Coast National show. Just the story you just told, right? Maybe there's a way for that East Coast National to work with a dealer like you who has, you don't want to share your whole contact list, but you have 5 names of people who you meet at that show who are now going to Burbank and taking their cards there. maybe you can work with that show in Suffern/White Plains to offer 10 people on your list a direct email for an autograph with Darryl Strawberry, whoever their guest is, free entry into it, almost like a VIP treatment you'd get at the National, to make sure that your person is coming because you're hooking them up. It doesn't cost the show anything. They're now taking care of their whale customers, your whale customers, and you don't lose those cards. And it's a value to you because now you don't have to go to Burbank to chase your good people's cards. It's a win-win for everybody, and I don't know why we wouldn't do something like that. Stupid?
No, it's a good idea, but I also kind of see another part why they won't do it still, because at the end of the day, they want a lot of the good dealers to be in that room. A lot of the people that are buying want good dealers in the room. It's like so many people came up to me in White Plains and said, oh, you're like the best table here. But they want options. People want options.
Right. So wouldn't that board, wouldn't like, let's just say, let's use the New York show for an example. If they were the first ones to do this, right? The guy who runs East Coast National, they announced, I'm going to be doing like a show advisory board with Sharon, and I'm going to open it up to 3 or 4 people. You can tell them, all right, you need to bring in boom, boom, boom. These are the 5 dealers from the East Coast. You got to make sure you take care of them or else they're going here. And they can now directly deal with those big dealers to make sure that they are in the room, right? To make sure that you have 5 people in the room. What is it going to take for me to keep you in this room? This way I don't lose the momentum I built up on this show. What can we do for each other? You know, share some contacts. I could share. Go ahead, Andy.
I have a theory. I want to hear what Sharon has to say about this. So,
I like that part. We just I think the older shows are not in the media as much. Like Burbank is everywhere in the media, you know. So we need to, if let's say working with you guys could bring up this promoter you know, and bring some of the social media people in. And you know what's so funny? Gary Vee is in New York.
Yep. I used to see him at the Hofstra show.
Yes.
I saw him with his son at the Hofstra show.
Exactly. That's where I actually spoke to him because, you know, everybody wants to bug him during National. Nat Turner used to come to White Plains all the time. So all the big buyers are actually here. But now it's like we're not. I actually think New York is such a special place to have a show. It's just that, I don't know, we're having it in, you know, 2 hours away from New York or something. Yeah.
You mentioned something. And my follow-up question was like, you mentioned every show wants good dealers because people want options. My next question would be, what is a good dealer? But can I tell you what I'm seeing?
Okay.
And you tell me if you agree with this. So what a dealer has changed, right? So like, I feel like everybody's become a breaker.
Well, what a dealer means to you is very different than what it means
I feel
to
like everybody's become a breaker, but then secondarily, they're all dealers. And it's like Andrew with like his cards takes his Zion case and puts it in a glass container, and I call himself a dealer. You're not a dealer, Andrew. You're just set up. A dealer is what Sharon has: a system, options, inventory. So I'm seeing all of these people with a huge social media presence and some slabs call themselves dealers. So I'm curious, what makes a good dealer?
Good dealers are people that are helping their customer to build what they need. For example, I have people that are like portfolios. If they need certain things, I will help them get it. And people ask me for advice. You know, everybody's going for certain players right now. I'm like, who should I get? I mean, get this guy that could be, you know, you got to think for the person who's buying from you.
You have deal flow and you know your customer. So you remember 6 months ago, Bobby came to my table and asked for Josh Allen. You have a Josh Allen card coming to you through a deal. You reach out to Bobby right away.
That's how I actually run my business majority of the time. You know, I help people, and you can't. And sometimes if Josh Allen is too high, I might not sell it to them because it might not be, you know, it's a peak already. It might not help them because especially if their focus is investment. If their focus is just want to have Josh Allen, then I could still move it to them. I mean, you got to think for your customer. You can't just think because I have 10,000 Josh Allen, I got to move them, you know, and let them get stuck with it. Because at the end, I have to face those people.
Right.
Oh,
and that's interesting.
Yeah.
Cage, because I see, like, I think of Sharon as a card advisor. Like, anytime I come over to our table, we talk about building a portfolio of cards. Versus now, I see people who are just like flippers call themselves dealers, right? They're like, I just bought it here and I'm just going to unload on people here.
Well, there's even
Yeah,
different kinds of dealers, right? It's, hey, I'm a dealer. I have my inventory, and I'm going to sell it to whoever comes and wants to buy it. Whereas if you take it to the next level, you have dealers who have many subtle layers of what they're doing. And if you want to be a repeat dealer, if you want to have repeat customers, you have to get to know what your buyers want, and you have to not rape them. I mean,
exactly.
It's pretty straightforward.
You can't sell it to them at peak. You know, you have to think about the backlash of things. And I think a lot of people that are getting into this hobby now don't think about that. They just want to score one time and you know what, kind of like, oh, you know, I don't want to curse, but F that, you know.
Yeah.
But if you don't sell it at the peak, you have to hold that inventory though, right?
If I like the kid, I don't mind. I mean, people are like, oh, Luka peaked last year, right? How could you tell a kid that's 24 years old, 23 years old peaked last year? I know if you're not a Luka fan, that's fine. If my card dropped 50%, I'm okay with it because I love the card also. So it's not something, you know, it's not just about the value. So at the end of the day, that's how I teach my customer to invest on things.
There's only 5 black gold Luka Prism rookies. That's not really ever going to drop that bad. You have a very nice collection.
No.
What do you think of the 1.1 million Herbert sale?
I saw your post.
People really like me running our Lucas.
Well, you're
Tigers
thinking for yourself.
page.
You're thinking for yourself, and you kind of, you know what you did there? You channeled your inner, what is it, IAH and Ziggy and maybe me. You channeled your conspiracy theorist. You know, you're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about it. Chewy brought it up yesterday. You know, we talked about all the issues surrounding it, you know. But there's just a lot of gray area stuff in it. I'm not sure it's worth that, but I was thinking maybe 500,000, you know, 600. But if it's $1 million, it's $1 million. Yeah, I had a customer message me right away. Sorry about that, and told me, "Oh, do you think this is if Herbert is $1 million? Don't you think this is worth $500,000?" I'm like, if people are willing to pay that, that's my kind of like just answer. I don't agree with it, but it's what people are willing to pay on Black.
Just takes 2 people. Just takes 2 people for a one-on-one. That's all it is. And if you don't have 2 people for the other guy, you can't do it that way. So that's not the way the comps are going to work.
Well, I comped the Cade Cunningham. Remember Cade, 1 of 1, sold for like 100 or 150. So like, okay, Herbert's 3 times more valuable than Cade. 4, like he's not 10 times more valuable.
But right, Cade sold for 100, 150, right? But if the Jalen Green Black 1 of 1 came up now and Prism God and somebody else who are both chasing Jalen Green said, I have to have this because it's going to be the centerpiece of my collection, that Jalen Green could sell for 354, 400, whatever it is. It just takes 2 people who say, I'm going to bid on this until I get it.
But not in football. Football used to be tier 3 and then tier 2. And now football is tier 1.
Not in these 3 months of the year. Give it a couple months, it'll be tier 3 again.
When I used to advise my customer, football is the scariest sport to invest in because their career at least the season could be over in one snap, you know. So I don't know, that it is a big number for a football card in my opinion.
He could be very good. And look, he could go out there. He go after week 4. Let's just assume it's sold for 1-1, right? After week 4, if he's 4-0 and he's got 20 touchdowns and 2 picks, the person who has it for 1-1 might get 1-5 for it.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was gonna say.
And what happens if you pull you have the 1-1 Josh Allen and he's also 4-0? Is he gonna be $2 million?
I mean, listen, we complain about breakers and breaking mentality. We complain about a lot of stuff here on the show. We're just big complainers. But one of the key things that's changed in the last couple of years with all of the people who got in and all the opening and all the breaking, all these cards hit. And all these cards hit and they get sold for big numbers. And that is good press. It's good PR. It tells people that look at this as an asset. I'll ask, where's the Luka 101? Nobody knows.
Somebody said it was pulled the past couple of weeks, but it hasn't been announced yet. So I don't know.
It's possible, but the point is what a different space we're in now than we were in 2018. If Luka was being opened now, as a rookie now, the product would all be opened probably the night before street date, because
Yep.
that's what everybody
Mhm.
does. And by 8 a.m. of street date, the Luka 101 would be posted all over social media. So
What
it's
is
so
street date?
different. That's when the product's supposed to hit the market,
Yep.
but people get it before street date, and they open it anyway, and they break it early, and that kind of stuff. So, good. Look, we're learning street date. It's good stuff. I mean, listen, Sharon, it is fun. Here's a question I have for you, because you take it very differently, but you also have that advisory role. I've been telling people for the last couple of weeks, don't buy quarterbacks because they've run up so much that the potential upside with these quarterbacks is so low. And I told people that for a while now. You have bought quarterbacks for your own PC and are looking to potentially sell some now. You bought them at National, you're selling them now. Nervous? Scared? You're buying them. I'm telling people not to buy them because I assume people are holding. You have a different thing. You had this like month and a half window where you're like, I know season's going to come and boom, Josh Allen's going to do what he did and I could sell my Josh Allen stuff. Talk about that a little bit, because remember we had Victory on and we asked him what he was and he's like, I'm a collector flipper investor, right? You have to kind of be a little bit of all, right?
Yeah, you have to be. So the funny part about that is the past few weeks I haven't announced it, but I bought a couple of big football pieces. I know some people don't like black backs 1-of-1s, but I think there are a few out there that are.
Did you get the Lamar black box 101 on eBay? You
No.
did, you sly son of a.
No, I didn't. I will show you a couple.
I was watching that and I texted my. That's sick. I asked my buddy what the black box 101. For people that don't know, it's the cards Panini held back and then they released an exclusive product. Is that right?
Yeah. No,
But
it's not an exclusive product, so it's not called a product. You could only get them if they owe you a lot of redemption or damage cards. So they put a value on it and then they give you a box.
And they have white box. That's what they give out at the National. Different.
Black box are only given out during National. White boxes are given out throughout the year.
Right. That's by the way,
difference.
They've been doing black box for a while. Andrew, if you want to have some fun, look up a Kobe black box logo man.
Yeah.
But it's out of like 199. And it's got different plays. It's called Passing the Torch. It was in a Panini black box a decade ago, maybe more. And it's got like, I don't know if it's Jerry Lucas on the other side. It's like a two-sided Kobe auto with a logo man on it. And that was given out in black boxes.
Frank Lucas from American
Not
Gods.
Frank Lucas.
You're right.
Oh, sorry. I
Elgin Baylor
distracted the question. So let me.
No, Cage distracted the question.
That's what I do. It's what I'm here for. It's why
please
people
don't apologize for Cage. So you think black box 101 is an interesting play?
Certain stuff, not all of them, but this year Panini put a lot of true RPAs in there, especially National Treasure. So to me, that's a different market than just buying any black boxes. If you could get an RPA, why not? It's still, and most of the time they're in great condition because they're supposed to be replacement cards if anything got damaged. So that means now BGS and PSA is starting to grade them. They said, but PSA told me that only if the seal is not broken, it'll be fast to grade. If you break the seal and do anything with the card, it will take a lot longer. That's what they told me.
I think, what's funny? I think the way our hobby is, I think we make things up as we go. Just not even us as us. Like, I think us is like the big guys and the big guys.
Set the rule. PSA set the rule. I mean,
if you broke the seal, you're never getting it back.
You went to college. You're not supposed to break the seal. That's like the first rule they teach you freshman year.
That's true. That is true. I was looking at there's an amazing Lamar. I think it was a PSA 10 black box. It sells for like 1/5 of what a true RPA, and it's the same exact card. So I was wondering the exact same thing. I have a question for you. So yesterday,
let me quickly answer his question. I don't want him to think. So football right now is basically hotter. Used to be baseball. Now is the hottest sport right now. I think it's tied into fantasy football and it's tied into gambling because every week, it's a lot of money involved. And now those gamblers are getting into investing also in sports card. And because of that, it's probably one of the top sports to collect right now. And because of that, what's the safest out of all the position? It's going to be quarterbacks to invest in. They played the longest, and to me, that's why it's kind of safe to invest on some quarterbacks.
I think it's because there's this big Florida mogul who sold his insurance company, and he has a lot of young kids who go and bid on his cards for him, and they've bought up a bunch of quarterbacks.
That could be true too.
And they post about it at the exact same time, at the exact same minute. But that's just what I think. What does it matter what I say? I'm just a talking head. Arena grading, tag grading. There's a post today by Cardboard. You're such a child. Tag should do that, but what do you see?
Sharon, before he asks the question, if they do a game of tag at the National, tag sponsored game of tag, you're playing. Like, we're gonna run around that place like crazy.
Tackled into like a case.
It's a great idea. I don't care if you name your company Tag. We're playing a game of tag. That has to happen.
You're a liability and risk attorney. Just so
that's true.
I know. Insure that event. Think about the premiums on that event, Cage. There's $1 million cards and memorabilia and game used jerseys and glass everywhere, and people are going to be unathletic people running around, tackling and touching and pushing.
We'll do it at the Pokemon trade night. It'll be empty.
Jeez.
Shots fired. You're it.
They were mean to her on the internet. Now you're mean to her on here.
I'm not being. I'm just making a joke. I couldn't do Ryan's trade night. I mean, the floor was.
I can't be on the screen when you're saying that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
They all know he has a. Anyway, what do you think about these companies, new grading companies, new vault companies coming into this space? It's good, bad? Are you indifferent? How do you view it?
It's getting flooded a little. It's confusing some of my customer. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I heard about it. I read a lot about Arena yesterday. It just came up, obviously, but I was just finishing reading about Tag because Chewy brought it up, and Chewy loves Tag. I'm okay with giving the new companies obviously a chance, but at the end of the day, when there's so many companies, it's people usually just stick with the main one because it's safer and it's less confusing. And what is Arena doing that PSA is not doing? PSA is basically doing everything now, offering you the best auction houses, if you want to do golden. And now, they're going to expand and want to do cheaper, items too, not just on big items. So there's a lot more. And now eBay's having a sell platform now too, and they're going to work with different dealers and store.
I heard with Arena that if you do business with them, depending upon how good the evening was, there's different levels of gift bag that you leave with.
Okay.
With Derek Jeter, memorabilia.
This is a joke.
I know. I got it after the gift bag part.
Sharon knows. New Yorkers know. That's a Jeter rumor. The gift bag thing, Andrew.
He would give him gift bags? To his lady friends?
This is the rumor. They left
how do you not know that?
They left.
What's inside?
Baseball,
signed baseball.
Dude, this guy's a G.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what?
If you didn't watch the documentary, he said, "Dude, it's not true."
It's not true. He said it's not true. That's why I could say, because he already addressed it, so it's out there, and he addressed it himself. But I had this great idea. I think the grading companies should have an advisory board.
I don't keep my Fleer wrappers. I wouldn't do.
Oh,
it's not true. If you're addressing that's just true.
I saw the Tag guys at the National. Jeremy introduced me to his team, and I gave him a great idea. I think I looked at the slab; it was cool. It was clear, see-through, and I said, "You know what you're missing on this? When you take a PSA card, if you're Andrew and you're selling on whatnot, you take a PSA card, and you don't want to spend the time to list the card. You hold it up to your phone, and it scans in the little QR code on the use. You don't have that." Figure out a way that whatever you're putting on there is linking up to whatnot anymore, loop unit.
By the way, so the tech broke, but it was incredible when it was
tech broke. But I mean, that's a great idea if we had an advisory board.
My only issue with all this new company is everybody they're gonna be all flooded with cheaper cards because nobody's gonna send a $50,000 card to to put it in that slab unless you're the owner of that company, because
Sure.
but and even though you might still put it in PSA after, so it's gonna be a bloodbath, and
Holding back a little bloodbath. She's being nice.
but the thing is, they're all backed up by big names. I don't know. And no, CSG is I'm authorized dealer for CSG. I just want I'm not saying
Nice.
anything negative.
Well, CSG is
But-
doing a lot of volume, a lot of
Yes.
people, and they're working.
They're
with
doing a
PwC
lot of
now.
volume, yes. And they're kind of getting up there. And SGC is actually competing too with some of the ended prices, and vintage. They've always been strong.
Yep.
So to me, it's not easy to be the top three. And I don't know if not, and like you say, it's like baseball, right? The umpiring. If it was that easy, they would have changed umpiring into robotics for a long time already. There are people that want some physical, when they're judging something instead of just all robotics. So I'm not sure I would totally trust it yet, but I will give it a try. But, not sure yet.
Yeah,
It's an
listen,
interest-
it's a great answer. It really is. Give it a try. We'll see what it is. But do we need that many grading companies? Sometimes too much of a good thing is too much. Whether it's the card
that's
shows,
not what that applies for. That's grading companies are not a good thing. They're a service business.
they are a good thing, right?
They're not good
We've
enough.
talked about the grading company magic, right? How else are you getting that kind of a bump on your cards? A lot of the hobby, come ups that we've seen of people who have money to spend now and are building things in the
bumps
hobby.
off of your slabs. You could take bumps off of anything.
So you
Slabs
understand
are-
what I'm saying? The come up is people they bought cards, they graded cards, and you get David Peck, our 1982 All-Star guy. He's a great example. Take a look at him on Twitter. He talked about it. He said people complaining about PSA. He says, my last sub, I subbed X many cards. It cost $1,000. And the increase from raw to graded when I got them back was $11,000. So he says that if you have the eye, if you know what you're looking for, if you know how to submit the right cards to a grading company, a grading company is a very, very good tool.
Survivorship bias. For every David Peck, there's 20.
Well, I'm just giving one example, yes. But here's the thing. For every David Peck, there's also 20
Yep.
other people who are going to send their cards to another company that they won't maximize their profit for. So the grading company itself, card
Gotcha.
grading, is a great thing. SGC does a great service with great turnaround time, right? PSA does a great job with what they do, and the secondary values are amazing. There's a certain thing as a saturation point where there's too much, right?
Yep.
We've talked about this. And what I was going to do was pivot away from grading with Sharon and say, I think we're already at the saturation point on grading companies. We've seen that. We've seen grading companies come and go in the same week.
Yep.
Are we
That's the
reaching
problem
that with
with-
shows?
I think that's the next step. It's gonna be bad, is because let's say in New York, there's only each show. There's a few whales that go to each shows, right? But now, I don't want to call them whales, but people that actually go there to spend money.
You can call me a whale. My wife has called me worse.
So my thing is, now it's gonna. At the end of the day, if there's a really big show like Burbank or there's a Dallas, I mean, it will take away from a smaller local show. And to me, if you're a top dealer, it's really a tough spot because you have items that you think it will sell with those clientele and it might not sell in the smaller shows. So how do you decide that? But the cost is so much more. Cost for me to go do a New York show is less than $1,000. Cost to Burbank is probably $4,000 because I have to, everything, my crew, everything. So
you know what? I have a question from an audience member. How do you let's say you're going to Burbank, how do you get your big Black Jaded Wolf setup out there? Do you drive it out there? Do you ship it out ahead of time? You bring it on a plane? Like, what are you doing with all that stuff?
It looks a little smaller, but no, so it looks a little smaller and, you have to rent everything. So that's why it drives the cost a lot more, renting all the showcase body bag, sending Chewy there too with me. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
You said Chewy in a body bag.
Let's not say that.
But I mean, like a step and repeat or like a sign that the dealers have behind them. That's big. What do you like?
That's
is
the
that
business.
Is that checked luggage? Like, where do you?
No, we don't bring those. It's a loss, because there's no way I could bring that. It's too expensive to just bring that.
I mean, that's by the way a nice business model, Andrew.
I agree.
I got a good one. That's a really good one. Somebody should be going to these shows ahead of time. showing up on Wednesday or Tuesday out at the show with a PO box or whatever it is, and someone like Sharon from across the country can ship them their stuff. They just hold it for them, and when you
Yep.
get out there, you pick it up and you have it set it up at the show, and then they
That's
take
true.
it at the end of the show and can send it back to you. That's a good way of doing it. It's the shows
Yeah.
should probably offer something like that. To be on the advisory board, it's something we can offer the shows.
I have a question. I think a lot of people at National and even continuing on, they want to trade instead of buy. And I've noticed liquidity's dried up. I think some of the liquidity's gone into investing in companies.
It's all in Josh Allen.
How do we, I don't know if the question is, how do we increase liquidity? What is the cause effect with the liquidity? Because if liquidity dries up, that's actually more important than prices, right? Like we need that action. We need to be able to get in and out of assets. Have you seen that too? Any thoughts on that subject?
There's less and less true collector. That's the thing. They're more older for investment, and if they didn't invest right, it's tough to be liquid, and then they just want to trade, and then that's what happened. I expected it this nationals because 3 shows before this national, everybody just wanted to sell. I was in my 3rd day national, and all I did was buy. I broke my record in buying, but selling was a little tough. But that's my thinking. If you're not a dealer that sell wholesale, like I could cover my expenses. But if you're like you said, Andrew, everybody is a dealer now. How do you cover your expenses? So that means you just bought this item for 5,000 and now you're gonna flip it for 5,500. That's not how you do business,
Right.
Because but they want to be liquid, like you said. So that's why after national, there's a lot of IG sale, up. Oh, I just bought this for 500, just to make 10%.
Right. Got to make some money back. Yeah.
Yeah, because to be liquid, because there's another show coming up, So I think people need to spread out, forget FOMO, find the best way. If buy things that you think are worth investing, not just for a flip, good for 3 months, good for 6 months. It's not gonna drop drastically. Those are the things to kind of buy.
Would you rather be in case I'll popcorn to you? Would you rather be in? So we had Lior on a while ago, and he always talked about the best cards appreciating the most. Would you rather be in 10 cards in that $100 to $500 range? Would you rather be in 2 cards at $2,500? Would you rather own 1 at $5K? Like if you're setting up a portfolio, right?
Okay.
If you need that quick liquidity, it's a little bit easier to sell off, 6 cards that are $150 than
so
1 card at
anything right now below 1,000 are very liquid, very, very liquid. So you could actually buy 10 of those, sell it, 10 of those, sell it. But it's your portfolio will grow very slowly, basically, because the profit margin is also a little smaller. But so the safest for me is the 1,000 to probably 3,000, because the jump also happened the most on that scale. The 5,000 are actually hard. I have customer that sells to me, and they're having a hard time selling 5,000 and up cards unless you give it to Golden, and
Right.
So to me, the safest market for an investment piece are 1,000 to 3,000 item.
I love that. I bought a few. Oh, here's a question. How much would you pay for a premium on a jersey number card? So I could give you a real example.
Okay.
So I bought a Jamar Chase Blue Ice rookie, 1 out of 99 jersey number. And it ran on eBay, and you never see this. 2 different sellers, this card ended at the same time. So there was the jersey number, PSA 10, Blue Ice out of 99, and maybe 4 seconds later, just the normal PSA 10. PSA 10 ended at $810, jersey at $1,575.
Okay. Perfect answer. Usually it's double most of the time, unless it's a big piece, unless it's a true RPA. There's no way Mahomes jersey number will double from 150 or 200 to 400,000. So to me, on a smaller piece, like below 2,000, it could double basically. So that's how I pay usually 1.5, or at least after fees. I am a dealer, so I pay what the regular one sold for basically.
Chase is a good one because it's also his jersey number is number 1, so you get the double bonus. It's 0-1, but the negative is he's not a quarterback, so you should be paying 50%.
Jalen Hurts is a number 1 now.
Jalen Hurts, there you go. So and here's a little. I hear LaMelo Ball is going to be also.
Yep,
So another fun one, right? Number 1 instead of number 2.
Oh,
I sold
Jalen
all-
Hurts changed his number, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, they both
Yeah.
changed to 2
They
to
changed
1
it
actually.
from 2 to 1. So you lose as a collector. You know, out of 10, you used to be able to get the number 1 and the number 2 for both the jersey number and no jersey number. So on it, Andrew, it's tough to be what Lior was doing, because when he started and you wanted to buy that national treasures Steph Curry, right? He wasn't really competing against so many people in the hobby who had millions and millions of dollars to buy that card. And think about where the Lior journey went, as he was talking to us. He bought that Curry, which is a crazy card. Then he bought the Giannis, which is an amazing card, right? And Giannis had already won MVP, and he hadn't won a championship yet, but that was happening. And, Mahomes cards, which is great. And now, in order to just get the money out there and buy these best of the best, you're buying black 1-of-1s of quarterback. I mean, did he buy Davis Mills? Trevor Lawrence,
yeah.
and I don't know if that's now a new strategy, if it's more of a gamble, if it's more of a headline, or it's because you go from Steph Curry, who's an all-timer, and you're buying the best of the best for Steph Curry, which is not going to have.
There's only so many all-timers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's only so many cards like that, and now there's more and more people fighting for those cards. That is one of those nice to say but tougher to execute type of strategy.
Yes. So I actually bumped into Lior, and I told him, because a customer of mine just showed me I think it was a Trey Lance NT 1-of-1, the true logo. So I told him,
one of many.
Yes. Well, no, the True Shield.
But this is the one. This is the one.
True Shield.
Not the laundry tag. Not what you buy.
No.
Not the Nike swoosh.
So he was chasing that. So see, to me, that's a different cut. Lior is in a different, stratosphere. There's maybe 4 or 5 of those in the country, but majority of us don't buy those things. I mean, so he's and not on that. Once he put it in the market, he knows there's nothing else like that. So he's targeting the other 5 people that have the money to buy those things. So, but he also truly liked those things. So it's not like, Josh loves 1-of-1 black too. I mean, it's his fascination too. So all of them, for some reason, just love those blacks. So, and the shield.
When people come in, your clients, who are the players they ask the most for?
Luka and Herbert.
Luka and Herbert.
A grand total of 0 championships.
So
grand
to me,
total
I
of
always
0
tell people,
MVPs.
Herbert is like the Luka of basketball. Herbert is going through what Luka went through a year ago. He is basically the highest of anything without even doing anything yet. I mean, the talent is there, obviously, but I mean, I'm a Luka fan, but I'm not, it's more like
delusional.
a fan than. Yeah, I mean,
you were a Luka fan before prices exploded. You had a chance to ride
I was
Luka up a
fan
bit.
when he was still in Europe.
Yeah, so it's easier to be a Luka fan. I was a Devontae Graham fan before he exploded.
I have some 1-of-1 Bram. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, that's tough. You never really had a chance to get in on Herbert. I mean, maybe in the very beginning, but even, it's a tougher and a different market now. But still, what's funny is here I'm saying, oh, don't buy Herbert. If you would have done what Sharon did and bought the right Herbert and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and whatever those cards at National right before, and be selective with your money and make sure you buy the right prices, you could have made 30% on it if you just dump it all right now. I could be wrong.
Sharon doesn't dump on her customers.
No, dump is the wrong word. But if you're buying to sell to people who want it right now, look, it's not a dump when after what happened last night, I guarantee there were phone calls to Sharon today asking for Josh Allen cards. Guaranteed. Which to me is the exact wrong time to buy, but people want him.
But I actually got more phone calls on Herbert and the other guys, because they're thinking if Herbert has a good year, and to me, Jalen Hurts have a good year, he could not touch those prices like Herbert, but at least go to half. And to me, that's a bigger profit margin than buying any Josh Allen's right
So
now.
history doesn't
Cage said that
repeat
too.
itself,
You guys
but it
understand
rhymes.
it.
History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And it's exactly what we heard about Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if Trey does well, his
Young,
cards can
right?
be Trey
Not
Young,
Trey
yeah.
Lance.
His cards can be his cards could, right now they're 1/3 of Luka. They should be 1/2. And then he went out that year when we were hearing that and took his team to what? The Eastern Conference Finals? And his cards were a quarter of Luka's. So I don't, it's always supply and demand, right? And, the demand is there for Herbert. It's tough to create that demand for Jalen Hurts. He's got
LA is an LA player versus a Philly player. It's just different.
Philly's a shithole.
I mean, Mike Trout's an LA player, and no one even cares anymore.
Okay,
that's because MLB doesn't have a marketing department.
Win anything and not win anything.
That's true.
Cage is probably running their marketing department. Like, I want to hire a VA. He's like, you don't need a VA right now. You guys don't need to.
By the way, Trout is very good at social
bases.
media himself. Trout, right? The whole weekend he's going to be all about the Eagles. Trout's a huge Eagles fan.
Oh, he's huge. Maybe I could sell some cards to Trout.
Hey, Trout, you want some Jalen Hurts? Let's go.
You mentioned something about demand. It seems to me, and I think this has gotten a little bit even way too far. I feel like influencers create demand in this hobby now.
Yes.
Like to like this the nth degree of like. Do you also see that? Is it like? Can you even do business now if you don't have some kind of huge influence on social?
It's harder. I'm gonna be honest with you. So it's probably one of the reasons why it's like I tell newer stores or newer people that's getting into the hobby to have a little, to play the social media game. I mean, I'm from old school. I don't want to do it, but I'm not comfortable doing it. I don't like to be in front of a camera. But I do it once in a while. I would rather outsource it, but you need to. It's like, I mean, and not only that, I actually feel like the right people need to talk. That's the reason why I still do some of the podcasts, because there are people that, I don't know, they're just trying to sell their cards. I know people like, oh, Sharon have everything. That's why she's trying to sell this card. I truly believe, I will try not to sell you anything that I truly don't believe in. That's the thing. And it's up to you if you want to believe that or not. So if I like Hurts because of every analysis, when I try to sell something to someone, I will give you the scale. This is what I think, all the data I got. And it's up to you to decide. I'm not going to tell you I have this card and you should buy this card because it's a good investment. No, I will give you all the data and you decide if you want to buy it or not.
By the way, Andrew, we did our NFL preview show. Who did I say to buy? I said buy Jalen Hurts.
Did you say that?
Yeah, because I said if you look at the first 9-week schedule, Jalen Hurts is probably going to be 7-2 at worst, 6-3. The Cowboys will probably be 4-5, and in 2 months, 2.5 months, you're going to be sitting there, with the Eagles basically the runaway in that division. But guys, what you're talking about, that storytelling, it's not new. It's not new to the hobby. I can't believe I'm going to say this on an episode, but here you go. Headlines don't sell papes. Newsies sell papes.
What the fuck are you talking about? What is he saying? Why does he do this to us?
So,
but because he has a follow up with that.
Well, because if the newspaper says, oh wow, the politician caught doing bad things, that's not a great headline. But if you shout out as a newsie, politician caught with his pants down around his ankles with a 13-year-old, cigars on the ground, and there's Altoids involved, all of a sudden, that newsie is selling the papes, not the headline. That's what you're actually seeing that in the hobby, right? And you have to almost be a carnival barker. It's storytelling. It's you're out there not just talking about Hurts. You have to explain the schedule with Hurts. You have to explain the comparison between Herbert and Hurts. The headline is buy Hurts because he's undervalued. The story being told by influencers is, all right, well, here's why. Here's why Hurts should have a good year. Here's why his schedule is great. Here's why he's probably going to win the division. And here's why, if all that happens, his cards won't be worth what Herbert is worth. But if they're worth half, then you've made more as a percentage gain investing in Hurts. But the part that's missing at the end there is at the end of that article, what you should say is, by the way, I also own these 11 Hurts cards.
You know the saying,
100%.
and I love this. Sharon said, good people need to kind of show up and talk about it, right? You know the saying, like, all evil needs to persist is for good people to do nothing?
I've heard. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying influencers are evil, but yesterday on the
Yeah.
show you asked me, Andrew, do you consider yourself an influencer, right? And I got hella philosophical, but it's because I really don't. Like, what I want to consider myself as someone who's going through the hobby learning journey, and maybe I'll take people along the ride so they don't have to make a lot of the mistakes that I did.
Exactly.
But it's like, it's scary to influence people because you're influencing their dollars, right?
That's one thing that you need to. I think a lot of us. That's why I don't. It's hard because if I know you, I build a relationship with you, then I will tell you some of the info, right? But to tell the masses, like, and not knowing everything, just listening to what I said
you're in a
it's
tough spot. This is why I
Yes.
hold Andrew out as an influencer, because I go by this principle. Who better to influence people than someone who is often under the influence?
Such a doofus. You know what I love about Sharon? As a business owner, I can't do this, but I respect, because I couldn't do this. I respect people can. You know, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So if business is going well, I'm look to cloud nine. If it's not, I'm like, "Urgh. Am I speaking English? Am I speaking
No.
Spanish?" Is what I said to those
Siobhan
guys.
feel Chewy knows that, so he's always in the office with me, so he feels that.
But every time you show up, and like I can't imagine, I imagine now disposable income's lower, inflation's high, everything's more expensive. Expensive to travel now, right? Hotels are expensive, business, I
Bitcoin's
imagine-
down. My
Bitcoin's-
passionate panda is not worth what it was last year. You know, I mean,
Right.
there's all kinds of stuff you got to take into account.
But
here.
Sharon always comes on with one, a smile, two, good vibes, never blames anybody or never complains about anybody, and is always here value first. Never like, what about me? What about me? I gotta just tip my hat to you. Like that, I respect that a lot, and I believe that the people that know you best love that about you. And I think that other people who are just getting acquainted with you through this channel, that's one of the things I love the most about you.
I appreciate that. You don't need to say it, but I appreciate it. People always tell me I don't take compliments well, but thank you, appreciate that.
Well, listen, we want to hear what's next for you, whether it's an increase in social, whether it's, opening a 7th store, whether it's, focusing and bearing down on the private client stuff. I can imagine with the folks you have and the football focus that you probably have in your inventory, it's going to take a while just to stay on top of the next couple of weeks, because with the, this is when the hobby started to boom, there was all this talk about like, cards are going to become almost stock market-y, and people are going to buy and sell based on what happens in football season that following Monday, or even that night. It's crazy. You have to really be on top of this stuff. So
yeah, it is
busy.
It's busy. Football, usually the first 4 or 5 weeks of football is insane. So you could get burned. I'm gonna be honest with you. Buying a wide receiver, it's just tough right now. It's gonna be hot for the next few weeks. Anybody like Gabriel Davis had a good week yesterday. Had a good game. I mean, he will sell like probably 100% what it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, but
I saw this. Remember my Steve Slayton? Remember,
Yeah.
I bought all that stuff,
Well,
and then I sold it, and everybody returned it 2 weeks later.
You
I was like,
yelled
"Damn,
at eBay. Oh man, that's a
So if
classic.
But the best thing, like the card Andrew pulled out, is consider moving them. If you think he has going to be another good week next week, move it. But if not, if you really want to hold it and you're a collector, then keep it.
We do mystery boxes.
You have the card in your hand.
100% satisfaction.
What number is Gabriel Davis?
3.
All right, good. Maybe he's a collector. Hold the card.
What do you mean? I'm not a collector. This was kind of a favor I did. I guess if you do something very nice and more than 2 people know you did it for the wrong reasons, I do everything for the wrong reasons.
So now 1,000 people are going to know. Boom!
I met this guy on Facebook groups. His son's a huge Jamar Chase fan. I just graded a Jamar Chase. He was like, "Hey, I'll throw you all of these raw cards that are junk for your," he didn't say that junk, but like for this Jamar Chase contenders. It was like a nice auto. And I was like, fine, screw it. I'm into that card cheap. I graded it. It's not a big deal. It just make me whole. So I got like a Devontae Smith downtown and a bunch of schlecks.
Sounds like they're good cards.
Yeah,
You just
and
got
now
to
you
they're
got
not-
Gabriel
and it becomes
Davis.
$100 each.
Boom, Gabriel.
Rarely
Davis.
do you trade down on their good cards. It's a lot of junk and a lot of work to get your money out. But I was like, I'll find a way to sell these. And if the kid loves Jamar Chase, I love Jamar Chase. So that's what's up. Oh, last question, not financial advice. Carlos Alcatraz cards. Buy,
You don't-
sell, hold.
His name is
Because
not
I really
Alcatraz.
want to buy them. I saw this post on Instagram that they're up like 160%. I think they're going to be up 160,000% after I saw that post. Buy, sell, or hold.
I don't jump on those things.
Smart.
I never do. I mean, everybody was posting for like 2 weeks. Everybody was posting about Kellen Mond. What's his name?
Kellen
The Viking
Mond.
guy. And then after 2 weeks, they're all making fun of those posts. It's like what people do now. I don't have time to even go chase for those cards right now.
I love
I'm
that.
with
Don't
you.
chase. Don't chase in sports betting. Lesson I learned. Don't chase in sports cards. Don't chase in life. Don't chase business. Attract.
Don't chase Jamar.
Love you, Luka Nation. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month. And many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luka Nation.